What can I expect at an employment-based green card application? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer, practicing law throughout the United States out of our office here in St. Louis, Missouri. Got an email this week from a viewer named Sutesh, and Sutesh is wondering, Jim, could you make a video about what happens at an employment-based green card application? Now, historically, we haven't seen very many interviews on employment-based green cards. In the old days, you would just have the submission of the I-45, and generally the green card was approved without an interview. But in the past few years, USCIS has updated that policy and is now requiring immigration officers to actually conduct a green card interview. So at first, it was very interesting. The USCIS officers were not used at all to having to do employment-based green card applications, and they, in all honesty, spent most of their time conducting it like it was a marriage-based application, because they knew what questions to ask when the green card was based on marriage, but they weren't that familiar with what to do when they're interviewing people on a green card application. Now, these interviews themselves come and go. There seemed to be a spike when the visa numbers become current, but then when they retrogress on the employment side, then we see these interviews sort of drop off. But basically, if you're going to be interviewed on your employment-based green card, the process is going to be basically the same. You're obviously not going to have to get too far into the marriage. Now, if your spouse has filed a derivative 485, you are going to have to prove up the marriage. But for this video, we're going to focus on what they talk about on the employment side. So, you know, the one thing they're wanting to know is whether or not your I-140 has been approved. So obviously that's been approved, or you wouldn't be scheduled for your interview. But they're going to go over the I-140. They're going to talk about your employment. And lately we've been seeing them go all the way back to your entire employment history. And in my humble opinion, they're using these interviews to gather data on H-1B employers. And what do I mean by that? Well, they seem to be spending a lot of time during these interviews going back to how you got your H-1B, how you stayed in the United States, have you maintained your H-1B? And I would say that they are a little bit combative on these. It seems to me like they're looking for reasons to turn people away, to deny their green cards. And so if there's any issues with your H-1B or with your I-140 or with your employer, then you're really going to need to firm that up, and you're probably going to need help from an immigration lawyer with that. That's pretty complex stuff. Again, USCIS is sharpening their swords, and they're looking very carefully at employment-based green cards, so that's a real issue. Also, if you have switched employers, you're going to need to submit a special form with USCIS, and you're going to need to bring documentation that you're still employed in a similar position. So there are a lot of little nuances to employment-based green cards. Most of it's on the paper side and the documentation, but at the end of the day, officers have been getting more training and are becoming more sophisticated on what kinds of questions to ask and what issues to look for in an employment-based application for lawful permanent residence. So you're going to want to make sure that you've documented that you are still employed, that you're working in your job, and that you're a person who hasn't had any arrests. So you're going to have to go through all the regular 485 questions about membership in groups, travel outside the United States. All these things you're going to need to document and bring them with you. I would say that you need to be extra organized for an employment-based green card. So if you need help with that, or if you have more questions about an employment-based green card interview, you can give us a call at 314-961-8200. You can email us at info@hackinglawpractice.com. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get updates whenever we make videos just like this one. And then join us in our Facebook group, which is called Immigrant Home. And we hope to see you there. We have over 1,000 people in there now who are just participating and sharing and talking about immigration. So thanks a lot. Have a great day.